All right, and I'm back. It is time to notice that my camera is slightly a, a, ajar. Oh, interesting. All right, so today we are going to be taking a look at basically the new stuff that has come along since the update. Yesterday we got the Final Fantasy X update, and the good news for those who missed Final Fantasy X or maybe missed out completing some stuff from FF10, that's basically what there is to do. Yeah, so yeah, we have some new master abilities to talk about, and we have the Final Fantasy X stuff, and I'm going to taking a look at the new kind of event in a separate video. We'll look at that later, but for now, let's just talk about, we'll start with master abilities, because those are really easy to get through. First of all, good news for the FF10 people. FF10s are just solid. They are not requiring like any kind of in-depth look at. They're pretty much just straightforward. Titus, essentially all of them get a D8, and to be fair, I haven't thought that any of them are bad, especially for the roles that they have mostly been doing. New training partner, new character partners really brought some of these characters back into the way, back into the kind of like more useful units, especially for PvP stuff. So like Titus is really great in guild rate, Yuna is just really still great all around, and Auron is fine. Probably could use a little bit of a boost, but it's fine. What do they get? Titus gets extra slash attack resistance penetration, as well as slash and shooting resistance, which is a decent little upgrade. I don't think that it's going to push him too much farther or put him on the same par as someone like Astoria, and he shouldn't be. But, you know, he's still a multi-chainer, still got Hestega, he's still a really useful unit, so I don't have any complaints here. He's just a solid, good unit, and the fact that he's better. Next up, Yuna. Now, Yuna is probably the worst of the three FF10 upgrades because she essentially gets casting time down by 20% and light attribute attack up by 15. The extra attack is great because she is still a pretty good damage dealer with some nasty abilities and a counter that can make some enemies' lives a headache. But that being said, the ability activation time is a garbage update. It really doesn't make enough to make a difference. Like just the other day, I was in a challenging mission with this update already in effect. I already had her master ability too. And I needed to raise a unit, and it took too long, and the enemy hit Yuna, and she died, and I was annoyed. I mean, I don't, like, some of the casting time on some of unit stuff is really annoying, and this update just doesn't make that big of a difference, so I'm not super blown away by this increase, and I think it should have probably been a little bit better, but ability activation time, it really doesn't make that big enough of a difference on some abilities, and it doesn't matter for other abilities, so it's just meh. But Yuna was already basically the best of three, so her update being the least good, you know, it is what it is. And as for Sir not appearing in my account, Auron, slash attack resistance penetration by 30, same as Titus. And basically, after increasing defense penetration on his limit burst for 3 turns, non-elemental damage large, you also get a barrier to reduce damage 3 times. It's nice for Auron. It takes him a little bit more into Brawler category, where Titus is more support and just dealing damage and chain. They fit into their elements, I think, fairly respectably well, so Auron, I don't think he's going to he's not going to be a meta breaker. It's just a nice little update for people who do like him, and I think he'll be more useful now, and definitely more brought in line some of the DPSs there. But those are not the only 3 units that we have getting a master ability. We also have 3 other units getting master abilities. Let's take a look at them, starting with this unit. This unit is a unit I've never seen anyone go beyond on the JP side. getting this guy to level 120, and I don't think this one is really going to make much of a difference. First of all, HP up for allies, don't move resistance, avoid plus 10 for himself, and defense penetration of 20. Short of his dagger, there is no reason to really 99 this character, and I think that it still holds really true. You like him, okay, but I'm just telling you what my general opinion here. Not worth it, not worth the upgrade, and moving on. Next up is everyone's favorite imitation metal bull, Durando. A character that I've never really thought too fondly of outside of maybe a selection quest, and here I'm pretty much keeping the same opinion on it. So first of all, HP up for allies, berserk resistance of 25 for allies. His own HP goes up by 20, and his defense penetration goes up by 20 as well. Last but not least, strengthening his knee crush ability. So range +2, range height difference +1. Don't move status effect on it. It's a raid up, and damage to the target, just what it was before. I don't think there's been any changes there, but the point is, Durando doesn't make the cut for this really being, because for Durando to be worth it, you'd have to run his vision card, and if you're not running his vision card, and let's face it, in terms of comparison maybe to higher tier vision cards, I don't think that there's too much here that you're missing out on. Still a fine unit for selection quest, or just raising him to give you better elemental mastery, but this really isn't going to make enough of a difference for you to really want to run this character over, let's say, some of the better SSRs out there. So I just don't see this character making that big of a difference. Just use Mont. Mont is a great lower tier character if you need something for a lower cost in the earth element. And last but not least is Schultz. This one, 10% for allies for AP, don't act resistance of 25, own attack plus 30%, and your own stop activation by an undisclosed number. A fine upgrade, I guess. This unit is not one that I think most people have been using. I haven't definitely been using it, as you can see, and I don't think it really matters to here. Schultz is what he is, and if you really like this character, it's a nice little bonus, but you're not going to be probably building this just for more than you already maybe have, and only for this. Alright, so yeah, that's a general master ability to use. Solid for the FF10s, nothing to complain about because those characters were already pretty good, and they're just a little bit better now. As for the Final Fantasy Brave Exvius Wotv units, pretty whatever. I don't think that they were the major focus this week, and I don't think that they're worth the investment in upgrading, other than if you already have them up to like 99 or whatever, then just get the free bonus. But it really, I don't think it's going to make that big of a difference. Alright, speaking of selection quest, if I can click on the right tab, we'll go talk about the selection quest for the dark element, which has been upgraded. As you can see, I still haven't finished mine because I just haven't finished it. Alright, but an accessory for the event, Lamega's hip flip flop fly earring, max out 230 HP, 14 free agility, 14 aid, equipable by most jobs, if not all jobs in the game. Looking at the list here, and it looks like all of them. I'm not seeing anything that's really jumping out at me. No, I'm really not seeing any job that's missing off that. Big thing here is AP consumption down, dark attack up, luck up. Now, Lamega is not going to get this TMR is not going to, this piece of equipment is not going to really change that, but in terms of a dark piece of equipment for reducing AP consumption, for giving dark attack up a fair bit, and luck up by a fair bit, as well as missile resistance. It's just a really good piece of equipment. Definitely worth finishing Dark Selection Quest, getting that piece of equipment and using it on whatever dark character you want. There's a ton of dark characters I think would love this, especially with the update now, with luck being a more important stat. Globalers will also probably like this because it synergizes nicely with the Dark Luck Up Vision card. Don't worry, Globalers. Light doesn't always rule forever. Alright, and that is it for that. So let's take a look at new vision card. Of course, the old FF10 vision cards has returned, and for people who are looking for it, there are a shed load of banners that we're going to talk about. Each of the Final Fantasy X characters all get their own banners, as well as the 80 shards for paid lapis. And as you can see here, the old vision card does make a return for those who want the water vision card. Good news for you, you'll be able to get it off of this banner. However, everything is separate. There is no crossover between the vision card banner, so if you were, say, for instance, wanting the Valfor one, you're going to have to get Valfor on its own banner, and if you don't have the water card, that will also be on a separate banner. Both do have guarantees for 10k though, and speaking of our new vision card, let's talk about this new vision card. Of course, coming with a brand new summon, which we'll talk about in a second. This vision card, overall pretty nice piece of light damage sourcing, but yeah, it's a good one. Upping the attack power of the granted unit's magic by 10%, range attack resistance by 10, and the party ending up with 35. Magic attack resistance penetration is a fair bit, magic attack up by 18, and dark killer up by 25 for maxing the vision card. This is definitely something that the light magic element has been wanting. Of course, magic has a little bit rough right now on the JP side, but I'm sure there'll be a few globalers who would like to get their hands on this vision card. The vision card is basically just solid completely. It ends up with a good amount of stats, I do believe, but I've kind of misplaced where I actually have them. So let's scroll over for a second and talk about our new summon. And first of all, Valfor Light Elemental Summon, and there is nothing really new. Valfor is a solid summon. I don't have any real general complaints about it. Good stats for what it ends up with. I think it ends up with like a 16 max speed, which is pretty decent for an Esper. Other than that, in terms of what it has on its Esper board, nothing that is insane, like going to change the game at all. Magic power up, hit rate up, evasion up, magic attack, shooting resistance, dark killer, dark resistance, and summon gauge acquisition, which makes a little bit more sense with the change to the summon gauge. Now finally having been upgraded a bit, this will become a little bit better. But honestly, it's just a solid Esper. I don't think that this will really be best. It doesn't feel like as major as like your Anima, your Bahamut, or your Odin. It's just a really good summon for its element, and especially for, I don't know, a light magic attacker who's very good. Let's say, I don't know, for now, Yuna. I like Valfor. I think Valfor is one of those very unique summons from Final Fantasy X, so I'm super happy to see it. Now, most of the animations do look generally reused from what we've seen on Yuna's attacks already, but, you know, whatever. For 10k guaranteed lapis to get this thing, it's a really good investment for light elemental character. As for the Final Fantasy X event, rolling into that to talk about really quickly, there isn't too much to say at this moment. Orange sunglasses, still don't know exactly what they do, but it's the FF10 event. It has a few bonuses right now, And essentially, it's just the basic stuff. As for the... We'll just scroll over here for a second and jump into shops so we can show this off. As you can see, the FF10 event has basically what you'd expect off of it. It looks like an event shop, and that's fine. That's all it really needs to be, with it being slightly updated to have rune medals, which is just great for anybody who's looking for those. As for these, you can get some extra shards for, the Balfour card, or if people are looking to get Yuna or Auron in the future, they both do have guarantees on the JP side for 2,000 coins a piece. But yeah, overall, Final Fantasy X event is just pretty darn standard. Nothing really stands out at this moment. Of course, box events and guild raids will be starting in the following weeks, and of course, next week we'll be getting our brand new March character, which will probably be a 100 cost. The element is guess, and the only thing to close out this video is mention that, as you probably saw a little bit earlier, the Warrior of Crystals have made a turn banner on the AP side this week. Astoria got 3 days, and June is getting 3. This is probably going to be, into March. We're going to see the return of a few other Warriors of Crystals on their own banners for days. Want another chance at it. And last thing to mention, a slight mistake. So I'm going to pause this. So I did my live stream report last time, and I mentioned that basically the JP tournament was essentially canceled on live stream because of some stuff that was going on in chat. That was actually not true. That was my bad. I did not hear at the start that they were only talking about the tournament in basically an announcement, which is very, very weird. They didn't mention any rules or of the upcoming tournament, or really any details whatsoever, which is very, very strange because it is supposed to be like one of their big tournaments, but whatever. So just to correct that really quickly, that was my mistake. I apologize for that. Although the stuff about them removing comments from chat was 100% true about Final Fantasy Tactics. So make of that, I guess, what you will. Yeah, thanks for watching. Take care. Hope you enjoyed the information, and see you next time.